Olá, bom dia a todos. Meu nome é Luís Xabi, sou responsável das vendas de Microsoft Azure na Microsoft Portugal. E é com muito gosto que estou aqui no evento da myCloudDoor a fazer esta introdução. Vou ser breve e fazer apenas uma breve introdução sobre o tópico do SAP on Azure e dar um bocadinho a perspectiva de mercado e porque é que os nossos clientes estão a preferir esta plataforma para fazer as suas implementações de SAP. Eu começava aqui só para alguns indicadores, penso que não serão surpresa para as pessoas que estão a ver. Por um lado, há um movimento crescente de migração de sistemas para a cloud, nós vemos isso em Portugal de uma forma crescente e até muito acelerada nos últimos 2 anos. O aumento da implementação de sistemas em cloud tem sido, de facto, muito acelerado. E, por outro lado, a evolução dos sistemas SAP para S/4HANA, para deployments em cloud, também temos aqui vários indicadores que mostram que a esmagadora maioria dos clientes estão a fazer as suas migrações e implementações de novos sistemas SAP em cloud. O último indicador aqui do lado direito é um estudo que a própria SAP fez aos seus clientes e aos seus parceiros para ver em que plataforma é que os seus clientes estavam a fazer o deployment dos sistemas. E como veem, praticamente metade, 47%, estão a preferir a Azure como plataforma empresarial, sendo o resto depois dividido por outras opções. E mostra bem o porquê da Azure ser a plataforma com maior cota de mercado para sistemas SAP neste caso. Isto tem algumas razões e eu pedi aqui ao Eduardo para passar ao próximo slide para falar de duas vertentes e não me vou alongar muito e dar depois o espaço aos nossos anfitriões da myCloudDoor para fazer a apresentação. Mas há aqui duas vertentes que acho que é importante alinhar. Por um lado, a questão de termos uma infraestrutura que é certificada pela própria SAP para correr estes sistemas, obviamente, são sistemas que tipicamente são críticos para o negócio e, portanto, precisam de suportabilidade à prova de bala. Mas depois há um conjunto de serviços que fazem parte da própria plataforma Azure, que são nativos e que são desenhados em conjunto com a SAP para garantir o nível de resiliência e de estabilidade que a plataforma vai precisar. Não só na própria migração, a componente de segurança, por exemplo, com os sistemas de backup integrados para as bases de dados do SAP, os sistemas de disaster recovery que funcionam utilizando serviços nativos. Este é um dos grandes diferenciadores da Microsoft. A componente de monitorização e de automação que eu posso depois fazer, e depois no decurso do evento vão ver a myCloudDoor utiliza estes serviços para garantir esse nível de serviço. Nós já temos muitos casos de clientes, ainda há cerca de um ano fizemos aqui um evento em Portugal com clientes que tinham implementações de SAP em Azure, e uma das grandes diferenças que esses clientes nos transmitiam era a questão da resiliência e da estabilidade. Portanto, inclusivamente tem indicadores de incidentes, de outages antes da migração e depois da migração, e é uma diferença de facto impressionante. Não queria terminar aqui este ponto sem falar também da questão do governo. Em Azure é possível definir políticas para que tudo o que seja, os recursos que sejam deployed de SAP, que sigam um conjunto de regras e dessa forma fazemos o enforcement da estabilidade que estas soluções precisam. E também a componente de custos, do cost management, que está disponível em Azure, essa ferramenta, que está continuamente a detectar e a sugerir oportunidades de utilização e oportunidades de poupança mais eficientes. E esse é também um dos grandes temas quando se dimensiona um sistema de SAP. Muitas vezes não há muitas certezas em relação ao sizing e à carga que vai ter, e o facto do Azure Cost Management dar essas indicações permite-me que eu utilize apenas a infraestrutura necessária e adequada e pague apenas aquilo que estou a usar. Portanto, isto na componente da infraestrutura que é fundamental. Passando aqui para outra vertente. Eduardo, se puderes passar o slide, obrigado. A componente de infraestrutura é crítica, mas não é apenas o único fator de decisão. E este slide aqui tem várias vertentes que nós estamos a ver, não vou obviamente falar de todas elas, por uma questão de tempo, mas podem ver aqui como existem uma série de serviços disponibilizados pelo ecossistema Microsoft que depois vão permitir tirar muito mais partido da plataforma SAP. Uma das coisas fundamentais nesta evolução e em particular do S4HANA é, como a SAP diz, keep the core clean. E isso é uma das aprendizagens do passado. O core, o sistema SAP, deve ser o mais standard possível, sendo que as customizações para o negócio, as extensões da plataforma, devem ser feitas em plataformas mais ágeis, desenvolvimento mais ágil e que não sejam feitas em cima do core. Até porque isso depois traz problemas de evolução, de upgrade, de manutenção substanciais. E aqui é um dos grandes diferenciadores e acho que é uma das razões pela qual a Azure tem de facto sido a plataforma escolhida nestes últimos anos para os sistemas SAP. Desde a parte de analytics, em que nós podemos criar um data lake comum entre as fontes de dados que vêm de sistemas SAP e fontes de dados que vêm de outros sistemas, e depois com base nisso correr inteligência artificial para fazer previsões de vendas, para fazer otimização de inventário e muitos outros cenários, seja uma empresa industrial, de retalho, utility, etc. Isso é uma das grandes vantagens. E entre todas as outras, também destacava aqui aquele ponto 5 que está ali, que são as Modern Apps, que é a capacidade que nós temos com a Power Platform, com os App Services em Azure, desenvolver de forma super rápida aplicações integradas com o core da SAP para responder a necessidades de negócio. E é aí que os clientes e os utilizadores finais e de negócio vão tirar partido total do investimento que estão a fazer na plataforma SAP, tendo essa agilidade. E, portanto, é este ecossistema todo que nos permite ter aqui uma proposta de valor muito diferenciada. E, bom, não vou alongar mais. Agradeço mais uma vez o convite à myCloudDoor. Para que estes sonhos sejam realidade, há uma coisa fundamental, que é a migração tem que ser bem feita por entidades conhecedoras do mundo SAP e conhecedoras do mundo Azure. E a myCloudDoor é um excelente exemplo disso e por isso é uma boa deixa. Passo a palavra ao José António para falar do seu sistema e do seu esquema de migração. Muito obrigado.
Bom dia a todos. Meu português não é muito bom, mas vou falar em inglês. Muito obrigado por participar deste webinar. My name is José Antonio Hernández, and I have been working with SAP for 28 years and with cloud for the last 10 years. So I have a little bit of experience in both worlds, and we decided in 2015 to deeply partner with Microsoft in SAP on Azure, because we thought it was going to be the platform of choice for enterprises, and that was the vision I had, and that's what I'm going to share briefly with you. Eduardo? Well, yes, a little bit of my history. I am very active. I cannot stop. So as you can see, I'm the author of some of the SAP books published in the US, and 2 years ago, I came out with a Cloud Migration Handbook. We have been doing deployments and migrations of SAP on Azure since 2015, when productive systems were certified by the end of 2015. We were doing already deployments and migrations of non-productive system, and started to do very critical migrations in 2016. Eduardo? So when we approach a migration project or SAP on Azure already, Luis told you the many advantages that it has. But we have done already thousands of deployments and migrations of SAP and non-SAP systems, but we're talking here about SAP. So what are the challenges that we have found you always find some type of challenges. Some of them are technical challenges, some of them are organizational challenges that I think is good for the customers to know what they should be expecting. So sometimes some of the issues that we find is that information, the basic information of the platform is not complete. Maybe the assessment of the systems actually on premise or on other type of data centers is not updated. One of the most critical issues in any migration project has to do with the integration, because SAP systems are not isolated. They are usually connected to many other type of systems, even third-party, external entities, logistics providers, manufacturing plants, tax authorities. So there is a lot of dependencies between SAP and non-SAP system, and that is one of the biggest. I mean, it can be easily solved in the analysis phase, but it's one of the challenges that we find that doing the testing, sometimes this type of integration might arise some type of problems. And this also has to do with the next topic that I put there. The integration sometimes has to do with network. No, Eduardo, the previous one. Previous, yeah. We find very often due to security, which is normal and has to be done very well in cloud and on-premise, but networking and connectivity and firewalls that create some issues sometimes. And testing is very important for any migration project. And also we have to understand that this data that customers have on SAP system are very critical, and they are very dynamic. So there is some data gravity there. Multi-layer systems, application servers, web dispatchers, and many of these type of systems that have to be moved in the right way. So these some of the technical challenges. Eduardo, go to the next one. And what happened especially when dealing with very large migration. So when dealing with very large migration, like we're doing a migration of over 2,200 systems in a very large oil company, and sometimes the stakeholders don't commit enough for the project. And here, even if we are a technology company, we are extremely aware that the most important part of a company is their business. They have to keep operating. They have to keep downtime to a minimum, the maximum availability, and the change to the cloud should be extremely smooth. Usually, our experience shows us that moving to the Azure Cloud for the users, there is no change. They are going to see exactly the same, and the impression that they usually have is that the things are going faster than it used to be on premise due to the agility and the versatility of the Azure Cloud. Sometimes we find technical issues. The third point that I put there is very important. The application lifecycle management. What does it mean? It means that, yeah, you might embark to a cloud journey to migrate your SAP systems to Azure, but your projects cannot stop and should not be stopped. So the planning for the applications that are going to be moved and the projects that are running have to be very well organized and planned in order not to affect the ongoing project. So that's something that we take very much into consideration. And of course, a program governance for the whole cloud transition is quite important. Eduardo? So what are the critical success factors when we embark in a SAP to Azure migration? Well, of course, having the right resources. Just for your info, in myCloudDoor, we are one of the first 10 companies in the world to get the advanced specialization for SAP on Azure. We have offices in Portugal, and the company was originally born in the US. Most of our consultants are based here in neighbor country in Spain, and so it's the resources for expert resources are very important, both from your partner does the migration, but also internal, because there are the need of networking expert, the systems experts that they can provide access and they can do the activities that are needed at the on-prem data center. And as I said before, we always concentrate on the business objective. The companies move to the cloud because they have a strategic path for their companies and for their business, and they are in a path for digital transformation. They are in a path to move to S/4HANA. So we always have this very much into consideration. And in our projects, what we try to do is to have a very practical approach. A very practical approach is not to die in endless analysis, but to concentrate on what is important for the project and for the company. Eduardo. Next. And also, there are certain issues when going to the cloud, but there are also some risk of not going to the cloud or not going to a hyperscaler such as Azure. So sometimes is that the companies are in a path of innovation, and many technologies which are quickly available and immediately available on the cloud are not so on-prem, or the procurement phase for getting large or medium to large systems such as HANA is not so easy in private data centers. So the inability to adopt new technologies is a risk of not going to cloud. The agility that is required in today's market also in private clouds is not so much, and in the hyperscalers such as Azure, you have immediate availability to like a vision of unlimited resources. Security, Microsoft invests over €1 billion per year in securing all the Azure platform. And it has a lot of built-in protection already. It has a security center where you can watch what is going on. It doesn't mean that the company do not need a security policy. They do, and advanced security, but Microsoft is giving by default a lot of security features and functionality that helps pretty much to avoid the risk of or the threats of the external threats. Another risk is that many applications today, or 90% of the applications that are being developed today, are only developed for cloud. And it might happen that you want to move to change a certain application and only runs on cloud. So that's a risk. And the last one, which has been usually the typical reason for moving to the cloud, is that in the cloud you pay for what you use, and so you don't need to make big capex investment. So this is good for financial, usually very good for financial people, but you can use the capex for new projects of technologies. Next. So I used to say that if you do the TCO comparison just of the price of the infrastructure on-prem and on cloud, it is not completely right. In the cloud, you don't only have to look at the cost of the machines or the cloud elements or the networking or the storage. There is many other things that are going to, and I'm going to show you in a later slide, that it has to be done in the right way. In the path of the cloud journey, the benefits are that the customer can get. You see it in the medium term when you start optimizing and automating most of the things. Moving to the cloud, many customers have a tendency to replicate what they have on premises. The architecture that they have on premises, they try to replicate. But in the cloud, we have many more options to do it in a much more organized way through a well-defined cloud reference architecture, or CRA, and move it into the right way is what is going to provide benefits. And this is particularly important for SAP systems to work properly. Okay, what is the value proposition that myCloudDoor has for SAP on Azure is to help in the, let's say, 4 main areas, which Luis introduced previously, but it's from a discovery or assessment phase, so that we have the right information, the transformation, which would be the migration phase, and after that, providing the optimal managed services from the subscription level to the SAP technical level, in this case, up to the helping companies on their innovation path, such as advanced analytics, such as IoT, or any other innovation technology that is coming up, which is available immediately in the Azure Cloud. So our value proposition is to help companies to reach the benefits that they are expecting when they are doing this transition to cloud computing. Just for your info, we are not a big company. We are a very niche boutique technology company. However, even so, we are one of the top 1% worldwide partners with more advanced specialization. We have up to 7 advanced specialization, being one of the first in the world to get this, as I introduced before, SAP on Azure advanced specialization, but also Windows Server and SQL migration, open source database migration, analytics, and we are missing an Azure virtual desktop, and also we have the Kubernetes and DevOps advanced specialization. Of course, we are an MSP expert service partner. We were one of the first 5. Now there are 7 companies worldwide on Azure Stack, but does not apply to SAP because SAP is not supported on Azure Stack, and many other competencies that we have in the company. Edu? Yeah. What are our services in a nutshell? Very quickly. These 4 pillars that we have can be associated, or the discovery phase is our consulting practice. So we help companies with assessment, discovery, cloud strategy, when to move, how much it's gonna cost, what's gonna be the real TCO, what could be the cloud governance, meaning the cloud governance includes service management, includes cost management, includes demand management, security, and the cloud reference architecture, mainly. The transformation pillar, or the transformation area, is our project area where we do cloud migration, a lot of SAP migration for the last five years, and migrations also for non-SAP, because sometimes they are associated, doing complex designs or modernization of data centers by doing new architecture on the cloud in the right way. That can mean from containerization, AKS, OpenShift, Kubernetes, and all of this, or many customers which are moving, for instance, IaaS to PaaS, or databases or data warehouses to Azure. So we are doing that in our transformation practice, which is our project practice. And of course, for us is critical, and we have been called in many countries to do SAP to cloud projects and migrations. Our optimization pillar can be what is our managed services area. So here we have all type of managed cloud services only up to the technology level. For instance, in SAP, that would be, we can do SAP basis, but we are extremely flexible when offering our managed services. We can do subscription level managed services, IaaS level managed services, meaning up to the operating system and everything associated, and up to the database, SAP basis, middleware, all these type of things. We also have a practice on DevOps, a very strong practice on DevOps, and we also do managed services for DevOps. And I'm very experts on cost management, not only just by forecasting, costing, and so on, but we have, for instance, developed the solution that Santander Bank in Spain is using worldwide for doing chargeback to the different business units. Recommendations is a multi-cloud solution. So we used to have the cost management for our customers that we service so that they could see easily how much they were spending on what and what they could optimize in their cost. So this is part of our services. And the last part, the innovation part, is where we mostly target advanced cloud analytics on Azure. Okay, but we are also doing projects with IoT on Azure, and we have our own model, governance model for data analytics. We have solutions for real-time replication of databases and models for SAP reporting on Power BI very, very quickly. So this is our innovation area, and this is one of the ones that is growing more and more. And as Luis introduced at the beginning, is not when you plan to move SAP to Azure, it's not just a question of having the ERP on the cloud, but it's the endless possibilities that you have once you have your SAP systems on the cloud. On the bottom of this presentation, and through the years, we have been building some solutions which we don't productize, but we use it in our projects. Like, I don't know if it's in the next slide, Eduardo. No, but our IP solutions include like automatic deployments of SAP in like 1 hour. We can have and we have it in a web called mycloudinstant.com, which is free of charge completely, and you can have one system up and running in 1 hour, an S/4HANA system, for instance. We have developed automation tools. We have developed a monitoring dashboard for SAP, a migration planner, a database replicator, and some other solutions just that we use in our projects or in our managed services for our customers. Next, okay. So in these different phases, what are the payback or the TCO or the benefits that you can get? In the discovery phase, the payback is quick, very quick, and it allows us to reduce your TCO by at least 30%, especially when we do discovery and assessment with automatic tooling and define a good CRA and a good forecasting for what is going to be, how you can manage the cost without getting into sprawling, which means that you have a free, for the users, it looks like they have a free buffet where they can get what they need, but that's something that has to be controlled, although with some flexibility, because you don't, if when we move to SAP to Azure, we are going to win a lot in agility. We don't want to lose in bureaucracy. Okay, in the project part, when doing a S/4HANA, for instance, an S/4HANA transformation project, the good thing about the cloud, and we have several really great cases to showcase, but the capability and the agility that Azure provides for starting projects is great. In one customer in the Netherlands, we moved one of their S/4HANA system to the cloud in 8 days, and they save about 250,000 euros every week that they could they had the system ready, because they already contract the functional project. And it's the capabilities of having SAP on Azure and the capability of copying very quickly the system, doing testing, having sandboxes in a fast way. It really is a lot of money and time that can be saved. Another thing that is extremely important when calculating a TCO is the managed services. So when going to Azure, all the systems are more homogeneous than usually on-prem. And that together with all the automation tooling and the monitoring toolings that are available today, it makes that managed services are much more inexpensive when going to the cloud, because most of the things are automatically controlled. So the time needed there is a lot of proactivity, and the time needed for solving issues it's much smaller. So and for lately, as I have already said, for the innovation, the flexibility and the capabilities of connecting or integrating SAP with many of the new innovation services available on Azure is unparalleled. There is no other hyperscaler that has more offering around, specifically around SAP, than Microsoft has. Edu? So yeah, I introduced already a little bit of our IP, but what are the accelerators that we have? We have, as I introduced, myCloud instance, so that you can deploy your SAP solution in just like an hour. Yesterday, I did two of these for a customer. We have our SAP monitoring solution. We use it for our managed services, and in one single Power BI dashboard, you can see if there is any. This is in real time, and if there is any issue at all, we can see it immediately on our monitor, so that we can act proactively. For instance, if a disk is full, if the dialogue response time, average dialogue response time is being high, if there is any problem with the update of the database, this tool is capable of having the most important KPIs of and indicators and parameters of SAP monitor in real time. In order to do the migrations, we have methodologies we have been using and improving over the years. We call it Smart Cloud Migration, which that is a combination of a quick methodology with every template that we need for a migration, from the analysis, the high-level design, the low-level design, the runbooks for a migration. So all of this is already prepared, and we combine with several toolings such as Azure Migrate, River Meadow, and we can do quick migrations with safety and low risk. We have our cost management tooling. Yeah.
In the Q&A chat, we have two questions.
Okay. Let me see.
I already replying the question. No worries.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. And as I introduced, we also have one. As I introduced also, we have a real-time replication tooling for transactional databases. We use it both for SAP and non-SAP, and together with all of the Azure artifacts such as SQL, Azure Batch, Azure Functions, that Databricks or Data Factory, that can be used to have a very quick implementation of smart analytics for SAP, and combine also with non-SAP information and data. Data is going to be the center of the universe. Is already the center of the universe, in fact. Edu? These are some of our reference, just for your info. I'm going to showcase just talk a little bit about, well, in Repsol, we are doing a migration of more than 2,000 servers. In Philips, we were 3 years engaged in moving 200 SAP systems, and I'm going to tell you a little story very quickly. In Philips, we started in 2018, 2017 actually, but in 2018 we started the SAP migration. And one of the last migrations that we had to do, it was planned in December of 2019. I'm telling these dates because remember the pandemic and when it all started. So in December of 2019, we planned one of the most critical migration of Philips for May 28th of 2020. That system, that SAP system, was a 23 terabyte database size. That system was having sales of 6 billion euro, 6,000 million euros through that system. It was located in the US. And it was the system in charge of all the breathing machines, CPAP machines for the respirators that Philips manufactures all over the world and sells all over the world. So it was so critical that in the middle of the pandemic, in the highest point, May of 2020, we had to migrate the system. So we were kind of, and Philips was kind of, do we do it? Don't we do it? Because it was very large, it was very complex, it had more than 200 external interfaces. So, but we did a good testing, and finally we migrated that database that was coming from AIX, Oracle, to Linux Oracle in Azure, and it went fine. It went. I mean, we were all very nervous because it was extremely critical. We only had 8 hours of downtime for this migration, but we did it. The other quick case I want to highlight, which I introduced previously, we just finished the migration of MediaPro. We went live this past weekend in AkzoNobel, which is one of the largest chemical industries in the world. I think number 2, number 3. They were embarked in an S4HANA project. They needed a 6 terabyte S4HANA system very quickly because they had already the consulting company contracted to do this project, and their current hoster could not have this system in less than 2 months. They also asked SAP. SAP could not have the system in less than 2 months. So they went to Microsoft. Microsoft came to us on a Friday, and the kickoff was Monday, and we got that system migrated in just 8 days. So the following week, the system was up and running. In 2 days, the users validated the system, and it was a very successful story because the customer has been telling about this to all the sales people of Microsoft. Go ahead, Eduardo. I think, yeah. Well, why us? Well, I think that we are quite pioneers. I founded this company in the US, in Miami, in 2011. I started to operate in 2012 to do cloud and only cloud. Initially, only SAP Con Cloud, which was software as a service solution and some PaaS solutions. And in 2015, we started the strategic alliance with Microsoft. Today, Microsoft Azure is 95% of all our business. So we have a lot of experience, and of course, our SAP background help us a lot in this area. We have a methodology which we have been developing since 6 years ago, and which is already very efficient. And of course, our solutions that we have been building allow us to be more efficient, more quicker, safer, and risk-free when doing migrations or deployments. Edu? Okay, now I pass on to my colleague Eduardo, who's going to showcase some of additional advantages and real examples.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Sorry, can you please? Okay. Thank you so much, Luis and José Antonio, for your explanation, really well and clear. I'm Eduardo, I'm Cloud Strategist at myCloudDoor. I'm covering all the EMEA region and helping all the small and large corporations to transform into the cloud and leverage and all the benefits that the cloud can bring, and as really well explained Luis and José Antonio. And I will process right now with more real life, with more use cases about what is SAP on Azure, how can we process with that now? Okay, well, as José Antonio explained really well, and Luis, we cover always the best way to transform to the cloud. It's really important to have discovery analysis phases. It's just a couple of weeks, and even months, no more. This is critical. Okay, why is critical? Because I will explain in the next slide. In the discovery phases, you can reduce the cost. You can make in an assessment. You can have a clear photo, an overview about the summary about what is your current situation and how will be the situation in the cloud. You will be a total cost ownership, and in order to get all the things of computing, networking, storage, backup solutions, all the service you need in the cloud, you will have in advance to migrate, okay? You will cover the security. It's quite important in an organization to cover all the security points. As well, you will have a high-level design architecture about your cloud or your SAP on Azure solution. For sure, we can support you in this phase, in this discovery and this assessment phase, helping with our best practice, our governance, and after that, we can process as well with a proof of concept. Microsoft also is collaborating with that in this proof of concept. You can, for example, starting with the SAP on cloud performance, just you want to do a migration into your HANA, or you want to prove with a piece of the infrastructure in a POC, or just a single silo with Azure Active Directory, or just with a reporting in Power BI, or whatever you need. We can arrange, we can leverage, develop a proof of concept. Okay, once you have the discovery and your assessment done, the next step is the transformation. We commented before. This transformation, as we are an agile company, we have our product and our tool to do this transformation as quick as possible. And just in a couple of days, thanks to the myCloud instance or myCloud Mass, you can get your infrastructure in the cloud. And for sure, this is with the support and thanks to the previous phase in which you take and carry out the same. Once you have in the cloud, we can process, as Jose Antonio and Luis told, with the optimization. In this optimization phase, we can manage your service, your SAP on Azure, and for sure, we can optimize your architecture. You want to improve the architecture. You want to improve your infrastructure as a code, for example, using Terraform and other tools. And so we can optimize the cost. This is quite important because a cloud is a way, and just at the beginning you will save money, but once you have in the cloud, you will save more money and you will optimize more your situation and your infrastructure, what is running in the cloud. No? Azure for sure support that with some tooling and some monitoring tooling and some cost management tool as well. The last phase is just the innovation. Innovation in which we are already in the cloud for sure, and we already invest in optimize. For example, we can innovate in different things. Maybe we can improve our disaster recovery on cloud. Maybe we can bring all the possibilities that SAP HANA has on cloud. We want to modernize our application using analytics and DevOps process, also using Power BI. Even we can start with SAP Content Management as a service. Even if we want to move enough with Team BI Report, Simplement, or just another service that the cloud offer, like business intelligence, artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, or just another of the million services that Azure offer. So as you can see, this is a progressive way in which you start in a small phase and then you never finish to innovate, because Azure offer more than 700, 1,000 services in the cloud where you can leverage and where you can use. Even responding some of the questions, for sure, Azure offer a solution for enterprise corporation, but also a small solutions or a specific solution for SMB market. No, small and medium business as another scenario in the market. Azure offer the benefit also for this type of business. No. Let's talk a little bit about that at the finish, at the end. And right now, let's talk about real use cases in our customer and how we improve to this customer and how we help to this customer thanks to their moving to Azure. For example, this is a new S/4HANA project. No, this is an industry company in Spain. The traditional way, we have a complex SAP sizing, and we help them just with a fast and easy scale up and scale down deployment. As you know well, when you are in the cloud, you can scale up more machines, scale down, or even scale sets in horizontal. No, this is totally flexible. You can scale all you need, and you can deploy in just a minute. In the traditional way, they need to prepare a big RFP, just for bidding, for buy a lot hardware. That's this spend a lot of time, a lot of months even, and just with Azure, you select your virtual machine that you already analysis in the previous phase, and just in a couple of minutes you have the machines. For example, you want a big machine, a M series or whatever in your HANA, you can select in just a minute and just run in the cloud. The RFP, you need to, in the traditional way, you need to place the order of the hardware or what you need, and you need to pay in advance with CapEx solution, and here you pay as you go. Even you can reserve instant forward to the year and have a high saving in the cloud. As you can see here, receiving, install, and configure equipment, and we help them with automatic deployment and installation. Install SAP platform software, and we help them. We have not to do it just for week, and this is take weeks right now. Example of the machine, for sure, Azure has a lot series, a lot machines in the cloud with many CPU, many runs memory, where you can select. You have a lot ticks to select premium, standard, ultra disk, or whatever you need. You can select on the cloud and just in a couple of minutes. No? And just in the scenario, the situation was we had the customer from more than 300K in CapEx investment. With Azure, the investment is OPEX. You develop in just 4 hours, and the saving, as you can see, is really high. So this is a good example of the benefit that SAP and Azure can bring you. This is another example. This is a HANA system disaster recovery in engineering and construction industry in EMEA. In the EMEA region, as we cover a lot of countries in the EMEA, the traditional way in this scenario, they have a backup data center with high communication capacities. With Azure, you can develop the DR in the region you want, example in Europe, in West Europe, and you have availability zones as you want to do this replication as high availability, or your specification in a couple of minutes. They need to acquire in the traditional way the hardware replica of the production system, and here you just set up much smaller HANA system with just cost 0. So if you don't use the system, you have not paid. This is off. Another benefits here, for example, as you can see where this is totally automation, and you can replicate thanks to the Azure Site Recovery tool. Is any of the advantages of Azure. This is completely easy to set up and is faster and really cheap, no? Really cheap. And the estimation cost from more than 100K in CapEx, the estimated cost for DR and Azure was 1K, 4K OPEX per month. In the next slide, we see an example of managed service in an industrial company as well in EMEA with the traditional way. Okay, this is quite similar. The traditional way of managed service is at the end you need to manage the infrastructure, but we have the high expertise to manage the cloud thanks to our expertise, our consultant architect that is managing many of the customers in the region. No? So the provision of the service and the storage, for example, when you are managing a service in this customer, imagine you need another machine or another disk. Do know depends on a lot of factor about your delivery, and here you can provision server, storage, or what you need in 1 hour. No, so the lead time comes from 6 weeks to 1 day, and the runtime is just will be 1 day, most manual, and in Azure is 2-4 hours, and it's automatic script. So the service cost, as you can see here, in this case coming from 3-6K, And in the managed service in Azure is included in subscription management, and you save money thanks to the all the flexibility and all the benefit that the Azure brings. This is another use cases, S4HANA to S4HANA version update, just upgrade in the new version of HANA in an industrial company in Europe, in Spain in specific. This traditional way has 4 copies of system for testing and transport, and just the same way is to migrate to Azure. No? Need to have all the necessary hardware availability. Here with Azure, you have Azure hyper scalability. Any of the benefits of the cloud is hyper scalable, as I said before. When you are in the traditional way, you need to have a deep analysis about the sizing of your machines. It's really important, because if you have a mistake in the sizing, then you cannot back. But in Azure, you can scale up in real time according to your needs. Long time for copying and associated costs, and in Azure, as we know very well, you pay us for your need. You have the copy, backup, restore in the traditional way, and in Azure is redeployment with images. And to finish, the 20-35 more time for technical operation. It's a lot of technical timing to involve in this traditional way, but in Azure is immediate availability of the technicals. Another example, managed service, example of a chief SAP system. Banking industry company in Europe and Americas, and big corporate company in other world. With the traditional way in this scenario, they have 1 terabyte SAP archive system, okay, and they need to monitor it and backup by MCP. No? In the cost was totally significant. The saving we leverage here, we carry out here. Just MCP hosted EAS was 2.8K per month. With Azure, just this cost reduced to €10 per month. So it's really significant, the saving. Also, the monitoring and backup costs, 900 months, and in Azure was €40 monthly. The total cost was totally a lot savings, more than 400% savings from 40K to 1K yearly. So at the end, as you can see, Azure brings many benefits in many customers in all industries, in the small segment and big segments. You can leverage all the capacities and all the features and improvement that Azure offers. To finish our webinar and to show how we process, we have next steps to cover in this digital transformation to your way. You can test it for free. Even if you want to register, log in, and deploy your Azure subscription, just click on Cloud Instant and start your journey in the cloud in just minutes. No? If you want to explore more or you need more support from us, you can request our 2 days on-site workshop. In this workshop, we can cover if you need a migration assessment, optimization assessment if you are already running, or just a proof of concept, pilot about a lot of our service we have. Yes, we are here to help you. And just you want to request for a quote, whenever you want, just text us or send us an email, and we are totally available for you, just to your needs. And yeah, we are on time. We have 5 minutes to finish the webinar and to answer all the questions you could have, and if you have another doubts or another concerns about SAP on Azure, we can solve right now. What to give the thanks to all the attendees to this webinar. I've the pleasure to stay here with you.
Well, if there is no questions, anyhow, you have our contact and you have Microsoft contact, and we really thank you. Muito obrigado por participar neste webinar. We will be delighted to help any of you that have participated and in any of your needs for SAP on Azure. So thank you very much again, muito obrigado, and I hope to talk with some of you soon.